Hello and welcome to episode 14 of my Factorio Vanilla playthrough series in version 1.0. I'm Icon and I did a little bit of preparations between this and the last episode, and today we're going to build our military mall, and hopefully I'm going to get to the point where we today start to build the laboratory over there. I've finally found a source of stone, so we don't need to get back up there. We've also found oil now, so these are the breaking news for today's episode. And yeah, let's keep going. I just will produce a small military mall, producing just the bare necessities. That's turrets, ammunitions, grenades. It's basically all the stuff that I need, because I want to have these things nailed down before we get into the laboratory business. Because once I start with science again, we're starting to progress further down the technology road, and I want to have all the things my starter base had for me installed in my main base before I proceed further. So that's just the basic idea behind that. Going to leave the production mall, well, I'm going to give it this much spacing, like these power poles are the limit, and we're going to have the military mall over here. So let's go here, mall, military. I'm giving this a whole section because later on in the game there are so many different things we can produce, from rockets over laser turrets. There's just a lot of ways of keeping the biters away from our land, and it's a quite wise decision to have a big bad production array for that running. And after the laboratory and those things have been set up, we're going to start and expand furthermore. Giving you a short preview over the next few episodes with that. So after the laboratory, we're going to go next into oil, because oil will open up plastics, and plastics will open up the way into the next color of science, which we don't have right now enabled. So bear with me, just a few more belts. I underestimated how much work the belts are without robots, because with robots I would only do something like that. Just copy, and boom, the rest would be the robots doing. But sadly I don't have robots yet, so I have to place down all the belts by hand. So there are nifty mods which give you earlier access to construction robots, and I totally advertise the usage of these hereby, because I personally think the joy of hand building things wears off at some point with the game. And well, your only real option apart from just enduring it would be to rush towards construction robots, or just install some nifty mod for that. Yeah, I leave the actual decision, of course, to the dear audience, but I know what I would do these days. It's fun to play to build things by hand and manually. No, it's not a question, but expanding your main bus, at some point the joy of that really wears off. Okay, so let's check out what kind of materials we're going to need. So we're going to need, of course, the three metal bases. That wasn't too much of a surprise. We're going to need coal, and the first time we're also going to need stone bricks, or in this scenario only the bricks, not the raw stone. Alright, so that means we have to pipe off a plenitude of things here. I guess we're going to need electronic circuits later down the road as well. Pretty sure about that, but it's not that important right now. So that's also another way of crossing the gaps, going like this. Alright, so let's bring in the iron first. And I'm using a very repetitive pattern here, so you might be already knowing it. And unlike my other mall section, I'm going to leave one grid of space between the single columns again. So there we go. There's the copper. And there we bring up the steel next, and then I'll bring up the coal next. So let's just take measure. I really like to do things like these. All right. So with my main bus here, I have insanely much room for expansions later on down the road. But I'm really happy with that because the first few times I played Factorio, I ended up with always planning too narrow. And that's not really bad if that ever happens to you. Ha, I took a wrong measure. If that ever happens to you, you can just let things run across somewhere else. You don't have to keep all the materials pedantically on this main bus. It's not really necessary. You can let things flow somewhere else. But the more pre-organization you take into your factory, the easier it gets to reach high grades of efficiency. That's just my experience. The less tidy your base, the harder it gets to reach a point of efficiency for your base. So coal, there's a nice stream of different resources necessary for the military mall, and I'm absolutely sure that the electronic circuits will join the parade later on too. Can't imagine that the laser turrets will be working without electronic circuits. That sounds highly improbable. Alright. So, finally having the basics down. And I'm going to use these things only for ourselves. So every item I produce in this area is not going to land on any fabrication belt for science or such later on. Anything necessary for the military science packs will be produced in the laboratory complex. I do this so I can keep the machineries here nice and tiny. So you remember the yellow ammo factories and the red ammo factories have a where is it at? There's it at. Have a certain interconnection. So it's always like one of those yellows feeds 3 of those reds. So we're going to facilitate that ratio. And first off, I want to start producing grenades. That's just so important. So we're going to bring up the grenados here. And I think I'm going to bring up 2 facilities for that. And since iron is one of the most requested materials here in the facility, well, you know what? We're going to let it actually run down the lane here. If I ever need it somewhere else, I'm going to splitter it off later on down the road. But for the time being, I'm just, I think I can use a pure iron belt pretty nicely here overall. There are several ways of solving your problems, always. So I'll need more than 1 basic inserter for that. Insane. So since I only need the coal for the grenados, I'm going to do these things just like that. Don't fiddle around too much with splitters and such things. We're just taking things easy here and get this easily expandable array rolling. Okay, let's pick up some big power pole and let it run down here. So we have a easy connector for the new facility, and there we go. Of course, have to install that one here as well. And now I'm just going to output into that direction, set up a chest for the recipiency, and there goes. Of course, we need an output arm too. Is there any way? It might be. I like that version more. So from here on, I start using the larger power poles more and more because it's just convenient, you know. It's just simply pretty convenient. Alright, so I'm going to have 2 yellow ammo factories here. And luckily they only need raw iron ore, so let's check out. The basic inserter need here is crazy, so we're going to go for 2 fast inserters, and output-wise, 1 of them is enough. Alright, so let's do this. And check out this. We are going to need copper plates and steel plates. Alright, so going to mix the copper onto this belt, because I feel like that's a pretty nifty thing to do. So we're going to let this, not the copper, the steel, of course. That was very, very wrong wording of mine. I was talking about the steel, because I need large amounts of copper, so I'd prefer to have a pure copper belt. So I'll do something like this. This is one neat trick to make sure we're going to have some steel on the right side of the belt. And there we go. Ooh, that's the wrong. Don't place it into the curve. This can sometimes mess up with your placement ideas. There we go. And the next step, we're going to split off some copper. So this is by no means any kind of sophisticated build. This is much more a way of showing you how you can easily mass produce ammunitions. So now we're going to have no more assemblers. Okay, let's pick up some more assemblers. Very, very happy to have just these things at my disposal. Should oh, we're going to produce radar panels. Ha! You see, that's there. I forgot the recipients for that. Okay, no problem. So let's one thing at a time. So this is going to be the red ammo production for that. And yes, I'm producing quite high amounts of red ammo, I'm aware of that. But I do like to have a large amount of stockpiles of that stuff. And I've made the experience, when you need it, you need stupid amounts of that stuff. And if you don't need it, you're heavily overproducing most of the time. But I'll rather overproduce heavily and be happy with the ammo. I mean, these machines stop working once the chests are full, basically, and we don't have any problems with that. So, okay, I would need a little bit more than 1 long-handed inserter in terms of copper intake, but I don't care about these crumbs of efficiency there. Whoever wants them can keep them. So there we go. Let's limit that chest to something like that. And we're good to go. So maybe, well, maybe I'm going to use that for my military complex. I always get tempted to that, but every time I wasn't happy when I used my stuff from the military mall for my science, because you can't ever have your science on heavy duty if you're letting it run like that, because whenever you pick something up, out of these containers, you limit your science production, and that's just something I don't like, if you get my idea. But to sum it up, it would be absolutely efficient as well to use the items out of a military mall if you have one for your gray science production as well. Absolutely legit. So we're going to think. So now we have these items and these items. What I want to mass produce now are walls, gates, gun turrets, and radars. So, well, the walls are pretty simple. The gates are made out of walls, so that's something which isn't too hard either. Oh, we're needing a new We're needing iron gear wheels here. Good thing that I had them on mass production. So remember us. Mass producing spare part intermediates. So I'm going to replace the turrets here. Alright. So on this off-screen belt, I'm going to have engines quite soon, because these are quite often necessary as well. So let's pick up a few of these, and already need new belts. I just noticed that. Alrighty. But I do enjoy the availability of things. It really feels like your life as a factory owner grows a lot easier once you've hit that spot where you've set up everything like this, and well, so I think it's quite obvious what I'm talking about here. So there we go. I want to place down a few turrets here though. So I don't feel too safe right now with this facility. And speaking about feeling not too safe, my military facility isn't secured at all. Okay, so now then, let's think what we want to do next. Going to have so we're going to need electronic circuits, and well, the electronic circuits are at no point mixable quite well with any material there, so it's making me a little bit sad. Alright, we're going to do something like that. I want to have a split of supply here, and we're going to live somewhere down there with it. Okay. So yeah, just taking some measures here. And we're going to need more copper plates. Okay. That's too far. So I'm going to use what I have here already. I want to end up here, so sometimes I have a hard time wrapping my head around how things have to work, but in the end, all comes together again. So that's what I wanted to manage. Sometimes, while it's most of the time quite easy to achieve for me, sometimes I feel like, what am I doing again? So here I want to split off another belt of iron. So my malls tend to grow quite chaotic at some point, and you might already notice why. So I'm using a red underground belt here because of the higher distance it can cross. And here goes my material for them turrets. Alright, we're going to produce again on 2 machines because I really like to have some sort of larger intake. If I remember correctly, basic inserters were all it took. No, not at all. Not with the better machine, not with the better assemblers, that is. Well, that's no problem at all. So let's just do something like that. There we go. Just very, very simple constructions to satisfy the needs which have developed by now. Alright, so we got ammunitions, we got turrets. Next up are the radars. I want to have iron gear wheels, and we're going to make a split off of the split off. This is always very, very foolish. So these facilities won't be having a big efficiency, but we're not making them about efficiency right now, so that's okay. So needing some of these two. All right. Oopsie. There you go. Perfect. So that's going to be the radar panels. I'm only producing one of them there because we're not ever going to need more than one stack of these. Absolutely sure that I'm not saying anything wrong with that. Unless they are needed at some point for something else, which I might have forgotten at this point. All right, so we're now getting the feed in on the materials. For some reason, the fast inserter doesn't feel like going for any iron plates in between, but that's iron gear wheels. What the heck? Can't look at this. All right, so last steps. We're going to need this here. So turns out there was no reason at all to let the bricks run like that. All right, that's completely fine for me. So we're going to have like 2 assemblers again for walls, mainly because I'm going to need the walls for the gates as well. So let's just drop some fast inserters over here, and we're going to have one machine directly producing gates. So I'm going to need steel and E-circuits. So there's steel. I'm going to do a separate split off for that stuff. It's easier to achieve anything useful out of that. We're going to set it up like this here as well. So grabbing new strands of material is now not really anything special anymore at this point of the game, as you might have noticed. We're just doing our thing. So this is actually not. I love it when I talk stuff like that and immediately run into some spaghetti problem. I love it. So you see, sometimes you're hindering yourself. So out of my personal point of view, my mistake here was I was trying to do 2 points of logistics at once, and that's it's just not smart. So I'm going to do this like that. And now we can twiddle in the steel where... Oh, I know what I want to do. Again, split off of a split off, I know, but I don't mind at this point. We're going to let this here run a little bit like that, this here like that. So, okay, never mind me. That's that, okay. As you might have already obviously noticed, I'm trying to mix these things. And kind of like blocking myself a wee little bit here. Alright, so, okay. Too many ideas at once do that sometimes with me. You've never ever played truly Factorio if you haven't run into moments like these. It's my my fond belief here. So I'm going to produce this here, but don't worry, friends, it'll all make sense in a moment. So there we go. Nice and simple. So there are always several ways of solving your solutions, obviously. All right. Don't worry, we're going to be done with that topic quite soon. All right, so I'm going to need 2 containers here. just like that. And I'm going to have this here. So, well, the second wall factory could be actually, no, whatever. I don't want to over-optimize here at this point. Okay, we got all the necessary items on delivery now. I can now safely remove all the forest I need, and now begins the actual laboratory planning phase. I haven't fully decided yet where I'm going to have the laboratories live. Maybe I'm very tempted to break up with my plans and put up the laboratory and the science facility over here, because I just noticed that most of the things running past here will be logistics, and would be not a problem at all to let the logistics all run along here and have all the science happening here at the same time. The only thing is just I have to decide the width of my main bus, but I think we're going to be totally fine, because if I would be trying to bring in my science facility into this direction, there are cliffs, lots of them. I hate cliffs, so I'll rather bomb away on all the forestry here and set up the science at this side of the map. I do like the idea. So that means we're going to have all the smeltering business there. So chances are we're going to have a centralized ore hub someday in this vicinity. I think this is going to be how things might be working out. Most of the time when I do things like these, I don't etch things into stone. These are just ideas, and I made very, very good experiences with being fluent with your ideas and with the development of your designs. Whenever you notice that your design is not feeling good for you anymore or makes you trouble, well, sometimes there's just a good idea just waiting for you to pick it up. And speaking about good ideas, so going to set up the science facility during the next episode, but we're heavily inclined into expanding our production in metals quite heavily, because right now my metal plate production is very, very puny, and once several parts of my factory will start running at 66% of their maximum performance, and that's not even a uncommon thing to happen in your factory, I'm going to be out of resources in all branches, and I'm going to have to wait for all the things, and I don't want that. So right now we're just outro removing the forest, because that's just what we're going to do as the outro today, because I'm not going to set up the laboratory area in this episode. I want to plan out things a little bit more thoroughly and think about the future of my mining ops as well while I'm doing that. And maybe I'm going to set up the no, not maybe, I'm definitely going to set up the railroad production items in the logistics section of my mall off camera, because I'm very, very convinced that there's not really much new to see here if I keep expanding on that part. I think everybody might know already what I'm going to do there, so rather show off the completed little facility there and talk a little bit more about where we're going to use our first simple trains, because at this point I already noticed that this area here will be super effective for doing some trains. So I'm not going to let the train tracks run in this direction, because that wouldn't be too good. We're going to let train tracks run along this area and let the ore flow into the hub, and the hub will distribute the ore back into the smelter arrays. That's going to be the long or middle term plans. But short term plans will be the setup of a laboratory facility able to produce 2 units of science per second. So this will bring us at a amount of 120 science packs per minute, which should be okay to finish the game with. We're going to see how well that'll go. So we're going to have some fun with that during the next episode. Alright friends, I'm going to say goodbye for that. Helmod loves to bug. Bugs are Helmod's second name, but that's another topic. So feel free to leave me a comment down below what you think, what you are, well, you know, I love to hear from you folks. And apart from that, if you want to support this series, leave a like. If you want to support the channel and my work, leave a subscription. It helps a ton. But whatever you might do or not do, thanks so much for watching, and I hope you're going to have a great time. So goodbye until we meet again.